So we started off with something a little bit different today. All of these lovely birds sat on the wall. Now it might be a bit of a weird one, but I noticed one thing about all these birds. They all look very different. Now for the sort of things that I talk about, that might sound like something that isn't going to relate to this topic, but trust me, this is an interesting point to start, and that's why I decided on my trip today to start filming with this episode. Now today's one was not an idea of my own. It was actually something that someone commented in a video. I find it quite interesting, and I thought it's potentially something for a video, because it's not necessarily my opinion, as you're about to learn over the next couple of minutes, but it's something that I know a lot of people probably feel, and it's a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. But let's talk about this topic here. So it's really a comment that I think was left with no malice at all, you know. I don't think the person who said it meant anything mean by it. But the comment was, well, you're going to struggle to do well in a society like the UK because you look different. And of course, if you have a look at me, that is obviously the case. I do look different. Obviously, you can tell that me, looking at me, compared to the common UK population, is a bit different. That's quite cool. It's an old Ferrari 400. Now, I suppose it's something that I never really speak about here on the channel. And that's not because I am embarrassed or ashamed of who I am. You know, I'm very proud. I am someone of a mixed race background, and I'm very proud of both sides of what I am. But in terms of me, who I feel like I am, who I am, you know, obviously, like I say, I acknowledge and respect and feel part of both of my cultures, but also I feel part of the English culture, the UK culture. You know, listen to my videos, listen to how I speak. As far as I'm concerned, and this is my opinion on myself, I'm as much as a English northern geezer as everybody else. And yes, I am aware, I've seen it in the comment section already, there's going to be some, well, you can't be an English geezer because you ain't an Anglo-Saxon. That is a different subject matter, but I'm talking about culturally, right? I speak English, it's the only language that I know. I have embraced the English culture, you know, I see myself as being a member of the English society, and English as well. Now again, what people want to say about that, that's up to them, but that's how I personally see it after my lifetime of living in the UK, well, for all of it. Now everyone has their little differences, right? Some people are super tall, short, skinny, some people are male, some people are female. There's always differences. And it's comments like the one that the commenter left, and again, no bad will or hate to that person at all, but it's comments like this that I've never understood. Because again, the person will talk about what ethnicity I am and why that means I can't succeed. But anyone who's watched more than one of my videos probably knows I have multiple businesses, right? I'm only 20 years old. 99% of the people that I ever meet here are perfectly lovely to me, as much as they would be, if not slightly more, than everybody else. And that's not because of the way you look, it's because of the way you act and who you are. I feel a full member of English society, but then again, as I would expect to be, because this is where I was born, this is the language that I speak, this is who I am. Now obviously I do understand that whether it's due to language differences or cultural differences, the same may not be the case for people who move here from other countries, but it's a comment that I hear from all different groups of people, right? I can't do well because of this and that. And as someone who has done quite well so far, right? I feel just as much, I feel like I have the same opportunities as everyone else. And again, for me, I grew up quite poor. I don't have any, you know, hands to kind of put me on, if you will. It's been what it's been. Now, obviously, not everybody's going to have the same experiences, right? And even in my time, there has been times where you might say, I felt different. But as a whole, right, I feel as much like I can succeed as anybody else. And the people who put both others and themselves into these boxes are the ones that I really do not understand. Now again, this is not necessarily the sort of video that I would traditionally make, but it's a comment that really made me think, because I am aware of, from my genuine life experience, not of things that I feel, but for others, that is what some people feel like, isn't it? Some people really do feel like they've got no chance because of this or that. Irrespective of all of that sort of stuff, why not give it a go anyway? You know, you'd be surprised. And it's like I say, I understand that different people have different experiences, that's natural. But to cast yourself into one box for what? It doesn't make any sense to me. Again, for the people my age and perhaps younger, and I know a lot of older people watch, so thank you and shout out to you guys, but for my younger people especially, I'm sure this is going to be more important because, like I say, people do genuinely believe this, and it really can affect their overall lifetime outcomes. Maybe it's due to the sort of environment that I grew up in, as in, although I came from the UK and obviously live in the UK, the part of my city that I live in is one where you find people from all over the world, right? All over the world, all different religions, all different ethnicities, all different cultures. That's what I grew up with. And, you know, with that, you see a lot of different people's success. So for me, from a very young age, right, you see people who may be even first-time immigrants themselves, as in they've come to the country in their lifetime, or you may see, I don't know, essentially these sort of people who say, oh, you can't succeed. These are the people who I've always seen succeeding, right? The same as everybody else in the country. They can do the same as everybody else. So there's never been something that's ever crossed my mind. But again, I am aware it's something that some people do think and feel, and I think it's a dangerous message for us to kind of have. You know, like I say, in terms of things that society might, in the eyes of these people, treat me differently on, I don't have any trouble with any of my businesses. I got good grades in school. I'm a university student. I feel like this is the sort of opportunities that everybody else gets. And actually, in the modern day, I must say, I feel like in some instances, people like myself might even get it easier. Now for me, I work on merit and I like it that way. I don't want to get a let-off for any reason, whether it's because you grew up poor, whether it's because you're a different ethnicity. I want to get there through my own hard work, right? But I never understood this message. You know, I take myself for an example. I'm not sure if this video is going to do well or not, but because I know people will be on either side of the fence. But I take myself for an example, right? I've got friends of all different ethnicities, but let's say, you know, my white English friends, the people who these people suggest have an advantage over me, right? I'm 20 years old, I run my own businesses, I've got my own car without having a job, not because I've got rich parents, because I earned it through my work, not physical work, right? Online. And I look to these friends, that's not the case. So do I have an advantage because of who I am or how I am? No, not at all. It's not that I have an advantage over them because I get special treatment or anything like that. I'll tell you what the genuine thing is, and people won't like this probably, but this is just my view. The thing that allowed me, and continues to allow me, to succeed is the fact that I think I can. I don't think most people in the comment section or anything like that need me to tell them, or even in this video, life isn't easy, right? And like I say, whether it's because you come from a poor background, whether it's because you're different in some sort of a way, or whether it's because you understand things in a way that other people may not, everyone's got their advantages and disadvantages. Even if you think someone's got it absolutely cushy and they've got the potential to do everything, it doesn't mean that they have in their head. Everyone's got the chance to do something amazing if they will let themselves. You know, a lot of the time it's not the system or stuff like that holding people back, it's themselves. I want to do well in my country of birth, right? So why on earth would I put myself into a box saying that I can't succeed because I grew up poor, or I can't succeed because I look different, or anything like that, right? It's not the case, and I do not understand. Of course, in some countries and in some places, and even in history, right, I am aware of this, obviously, as people as someone whose grandparents moved to this country in about, say, the 50s or the 60s, I am very aware of the fact that this has not always been the case. But in the modern day, right, I live in a big city, and I'm telling you guys, you know, for most people in big cities who have experienced different people from around the world, it comes as nothing new. It's not some big surprise. People have not really got a hatred towards anybody else. Yes, you will find the odd person who's gonna say something funny or won't treat you the same or something like that. But to say that that's a societal issue, and again, people may completely disagree, and I understand in some countries it is, but I'm talking about my country and my life experience. I don't know if it is. Are there things in the UK that are different depending on who you are? Well, yes. Different rules, perhaps, for male and female employees, different societal expectations for men, women, young people, old people. But we all have these different characteristics. Am I saying that the world's perfect? No, I am not. However, these trees are pretty close if you ask me. But what I'm saying is the world ain't perfect, but it's never going to be. And since the beginning of time, there's always been measures separating some from others. Whether it's people who have more money, people who are more muscular, all this sort of stuff, there are human differences. This is just natural. But I do not understand why people write themselves off, usually without giving it much of a go. Yet again, like I say with a lot of these videos, I'm not sure whether people are going to like it or not. I'm not sure if people are going to agree. That's obviously fine too. You know, you can agree with me, you can disagree with me. But like I say, I think to not try because you perceive something to be the case. If there's some young people out there watching this who might watch this video and think, you know, well, maybe I'll give it a go now because I didn't think I could because I'm a woman or because I'm poor or because I'm different in some way. I think still give it a try. I'm not saying that it's perfect. Like I said, that you are going to face issues in certain markets, irrespective of who you are. You're all going to have your differences, and the same's true for me. But this idea that someone told me after my life experience, as in me running all of these businesses, me being quite popular in social circles, me living in a city and having basically zero trouble because of anything objective, like the way I look or anything, right? Because of that, that's my experience, and I'm not saying it's going to be the same for everybody. And of course, people have had terrible things happen to them in the last 5-10 years, right? Whether it's racial discrimination or stuff like that. But like I say, in my experience, I've seen people from all factions of the world and all parts of the world do supremely well and do amazingly. People may disagree, people may tell me about how unfair it is. Perhaps you'll fill me in some knowledge in the comment section, but this is one that, again, someone left for me, and whether I'm right or not, I never said I was going to be, it's just my opinion, but whether I'm right or not, it's something that did inspire some thought in my head, because maybe it's a question that other people have out there, and in my experience so far, it's not really been a huge concern ever. I've never thought really. I mean, maybe a tiny bit, but you never really think about these things and how they hold you back, or at least I haven't. Right? You come from a different world, you come from a different culture, you come from a different gender. That could be your competitive advantage, because now you have something cool to tell people, something cool to teach people. You can work in different ways. And yeah, you are going to run up against the odd hater, the odd someone who's got something against you for just who you are. But for a lot of the population, they'll give you the same chance as everybody else, right? Take that chance, take that risk, and see what it is that you can achieve. Locking yourself into a box isn't helpful for any of us, and it's something that I've never understood, regardless of what the box is. That's it for this one. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next one soon, where we'll be talking about something else interesting. But for now, why don't you let me know in the comment section what you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I want to know what your thoughts are. Tell me down below.